I'm Natasha Chilingarian.
I'm Michael Ogden. This is Shared Accounts with CU Times. Everybody wants to talk about AI. My God, it's everywhere right now. Nearly in all these meetings I'm in, both internally and then stuff I'm listening to with Credit Union World on Capitol Hill and whatever. But Natasha, producer Zach, I want to ask you really quick. Do you all have any thoughts about AI and our existence with it right now?
I would say overall, I feel like it's halfway scary and then
Okay.
halfway just a joke
Huh.
because part of it is the thought that and just the conversations that you hear and the articles you read about it taking over in some way. And I don't know if you saw that there was this video of this robot that actually attacked this worker I don't know if it was in China or where it
Hmm.
was. You know what I'm talking about? It
I
actually went
don't.
rogue and they weren't able to control it, and it actually started, like,
Jesus.
attacking a person.
My gosh.
Anyway, I was like, "Okay, that's terrifying." So I
Hmm.
don't know, and then if it becomes, yeah, smarter than us, I guess, is very scary.
So, what I am hearing is that you are ready for AI crime shows. That's what you want to start
Possibly.
watching.
Well, and that could be the new thing. Yeah, maybe the AI will be going out on murder
That'll
sprees,
feed your
and then
habit.
we'll have
Yeah.
a special jail for AI robots. I don't know.
Yes.
Well, no, but then I would say just like where we're at with it right now, or just what
Hmm.
I see, it's just so stupid.
Hmm.
Like someone I know, some girl that I was friends with on Facebook, she spent the whole weekend posting all of these like, "Oh, here's what an AI picture of me on a date with Keanu Reeves would look like." And then just
Barf.
posted all these photos of like, just AI produced, and it just looks so stupid
Hmm.
and ridiculous. And then I think even when you like try to consult with it for information with the hallucinations and with, the fact that it's
Yeah.
not always
Yeah.
right, I don't think it's really trustworthy. I think it's kind of silly,
Zach, do you have any thoughts on it?
So I wasn't really listening to anything Natasha said, but I will say there is an app on Facebook that lets me see what it would look like if I was on a date with Keanu Reeves, and I love it.
Oh my gosh. What is
Oh, so that's even
happening?
you, that was you this whole time, huh?
No,
I didn't know.
I would say
Real plot twist.
my biggest exposure to AI as a child of baby boomers is
Hmm.
having to comment on social media posts that's not real.
Right.
Other than that, it is automating some quick things like write a summary of this course that I don't want to write.
Sure.
Sure.
Using it and having to edit it, I will say the threat right now I feel is very overblown.
Okay.
Mhm.
If you look at what it puts out unedited,
Yeah.
so but let me add the caveat that the potential has me terrified.
Sure. So I want to point out one thing really quick. I will not name the person, I will not name the publication, but there is a publication in our industry, in the credit union space, Natasha. You know who and what I'm talking about,
Mhm.
but for legal reasons, I won't say. But they use AI to create images for their stories. Not
Right.
every story, but a lot. I swear to God, this morning I looked. This person had an AI image created for their story with a family, like a dad, mom, two little kids. Two of the kids had 6 fingers on their hands.
Well, the
Okay, so
fingers is
how do you not
always the
notice
giveaway.
that? I mean, come on.
And stories are being written by AI. And I'm like, this is atrocious. And nowhere on the site does it say that this person is using AI for anything.
That's not really.
I'm like, legitimately, this is garbage. And I'm so mad about it. And I wish I could say who it is, but I
You know
won't.
who you mean? Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
that's just like why do you need to use AI? I mean, there's plenty of good options on
There's no
Shutterstock,
reason.
Adobe Stock, like, and they have some AI generated and they'll disclose it. And I
Yeah.
think that AI can
Yeah.
actually make for nice art. I know there's debates about this, like in the art world,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm into cross stitching, and so I look at a
Mm-hmm.
lot of images all the time for like
Mm-hmm.
inspiration for like what do I want to stitch next, like what
Yeah.
parts, and they have to disclose even there. And some people are really against
Yeah.
it. They're like, "Oh, I will never stitch something that's an AI
Mm.
generated image." But there could be some really cool because
Of
I'm really into
course. Of
fantasy art
course.
and
Yeah.
really colorful thing,
Yeah.
and there can be some really cool images that AI can generate. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you have someone with 6 fingers, it's like, what are you doing? Like, are you blind? I mean, why did you put that up there?
Zach, you guys, you saw the movie Goonies, right?
Oh yeah.
What was the weird monster guy who was really friendly?
Sloth.
Sloth, right? something like that.
But yeah.
So this person also on their site used an AI image where their eyeballs of this family, these people or whatever, their eyeballs didn't line up. I'm like, what the hell is happening? It looked like sloth. I'm just so mad about it. Okay, I got to get off that or I will accidentally say who it is. But I wanted to point out really quick, I did a quick poll about AI on my LinkedIn, and I asked this question, kind of to your point, what you were talking about, Natasha, but how worried are you about AI when it comes to your job security? Here are the answers. 12% answered very worried. 42% answered somewhat worried. 46% said, no way AI can do my job. And then the final option was AI already took my job. Nobody clicked on that option. So this kind of tracks. And from what I looked at, 46% saying no way AI can do it. That was a lot of CEOs that responded. So they're feeling pretty secure.
Well, that's good to hear. And that's kind of a good example of where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wonder who the very worried are. I kind of wonder what kind of roles those are.
Yeah, it seemed, I think there was some HR, positions and things like that, which I'm worried.
If I can speak up for the millennials who came into the professional world during the Great Recession, we're terrified of losing our job for anything.
Sure.
You know what? I would agree, Zach. Absolutely. It's like
good point.
We're so worried. We've gone through already like economic downturns. And so I would say that, yeah, I'm not worried that because of just no one takes it seriously at this point, as far as like what a human can write versus what AI can write. And that's even, Michael, if I'd point out quickly, a new policy of ours for contributed articles is no AI. Like
no AI.
Yeah. So.
Because you can tell. You can tell when people submit it.
Right. So
it's weird.
But yeah, stay tuned.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
This is a great topic that I'm sure we'll do more about down the road, but we have to get into the actual show. This was just the intro, for God's sakes. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Shared Accounts with CU Times. Coming up, we are chatting with Michelle Balog. She is president, CEO at Newmark Credit Union down in Chicago. She was so great. Really nice. Yeah. But first, Ann and I have to take a break from this week, check in with each other. Hey, Ann, how you doing?
Hey, Em. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting hot. I got to turn on the air conditioner.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're getting at that time of year. It's pretty soon I'll start sticking to my seat again.
Oh, yeah. I remember that last year. I think you brought him on the show.
Yeah, oh, boy.
We had a really, really great interview. So let's kind of check in with each other quickly here because we got a busy day ahead of us. What have you been watching?
Yeah, I'll just bring up one thing I blew through finally. It was the very final season of The Handmaid's Tale, which I've been following since it began in 2017. So
wait, you watched the entire show? Okay.
I got through it. Yeah, I think just in like about a week. It's like 10 episodes.
I know so few people who made it all the way through. So that's interesting.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. It just became too depressing and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to give any spoilers away, so it's going to be hard to talk about without doing that. But I will say I actually really enjoyed this season. Like, I found it very suspenseful, and I was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do about that? How are they going to wrap that up? And they pretty much wrapped everything up except for like one key thing that's still like hanging out there. But there's going to be, I guess there's going to be another show, like a spinoff that's going to address that.
Oh.
Because the main character has like a daughter that was stolen away, and
they need to find her, that was like the very first episode, wasn't it?
Yeah,
her daughter was taken away. Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good. Although I'll say, I just think like Elizabeth Moss's character just kind of annoyed me after a while. Like, and I have heard a lot of things about this, that she is like one of the worst female lead characters. It's just, and it got so apparent. It's just how, just kind of how selfish she is, and everything has to suit her. And
is it a Scientology thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm talking about, I guess, more the character. And
the character. I thought you were talking about her.
Yeah,
okay, great.
Joan Osborne character.
Sure.
Very self-centered, and also it's like escaped death so many times, where it's like, come on, there's no way you're still alive. Like, there's no way you haven't been killed yet. Like, you're literally standing there with a noose around your neck, in front of the whole town, and then suddenly, oh, someone comes in and saves the day, as if that would really happen, so kind of silly, but I would say I really enjoyed it, and there was like a really emotional moment about relating to one character who I think became one of my favorites, this Lawrence, played by Bradley Whittier.
Okay.
Like white beard. I just love him. I just love that character so much. And just
great.
Anyway, I had a good time watching it. So
very nice. All right, good rec.
Yeah. What have you been watching?
You know what? I've been watching a bunch, but I want to point out one movie I hadn't seen since it came out, and I was so glad I revisited this because I will say, with the passing of Gene Hackman, the Criterion Channel, which I subscribe to, they put out a special Gene Hackman collection for the month. And one of the movies in it is 1987's No Way Out, starring Kevin Costner. Gene Hackman's in it, Sean Young. Kevin Costner is so skinny in the 80s. I forgot how tiny he was. But what a fun movie. It's a spy thriller. Okay. It's all shot in DC, which makes it even better, Real cool stuff. Just had a really good time with it. No Way Out.
Okay. Yeah. That's such a good era for movies too.
Well, it had that movie was known back in the day for its real steamy limo scene. If anybody is old enough, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not that steamy, but it's pretty funny actually.
Okay.
Really fun watch.
Late 80s, you said this is from, right?
84.
84. Yeah. Okay, never mind. For some reason I was thinking you said 90, so yeah.
Oh, sorry, 87. 87.
Okay. For some reason I was thinking 97. I was like, great movie, great era for movies. Oh, 80s, not so much, I guess. I don't know. I was like 5, so I don't know.
80s is a little garbage, but it was a really fun watch, so I recommend it. No Way Out.
Cool. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our interview. So like I said, we had a great time meeting Michelle. I think she was just a joy to have on the pod. So just a few highlights for you all to look forward to of the interview coming up here. Michelle became a CEO just a couple months ago.
Yep.
Although she's been with her credit union, Newmark, for 17 years. So she says it was a fairly smooth transition. But she also talks about, what it's been like to transition into the role in a time of such regulatory uncertainty. And she has a legal background. So she's very entrenched in that area, world of regulations, compliance, risk management, all that. Also talks about how the credit union is getting ahead of cybersecurity threats.
Yep.
And being that she's from Chicago, we had to talk about two things. Number one, pizza. And number two, the Pope. Hello.
Yeah, the Pope.
Yeah. We have all that coming up next. Joining us in the virtual studio today is Michelle Balog, President and CEO at Newmark Credit Union over in Chicago. Hey, Michelle, welcome to Shared Accounts.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Michelle.
Glad to be
here. Yeah, we're happy to have you. So, Michelle, you are a fairly new CEO. You officially became CEO of Newmark on April 1st. So, congratulations on the new role.
Thank you.
Yeah, how's it been going for you so far and now as officially a CEO?
It's been okay. Actually, I've been with Newmark for 17 years, so that made the transition much easier. I have a great supporting team here that most of my senior managers I've worked with for many years, so that's made it great for me to get acclimated. My first couple months were quite interesting with the threat of taxation at the federal level, and then, of course, interchange concerns here in Illinois, and then being brought up again at the federal level. So I've spent some time in Springfield. I'm on the QPAC board for the Illinois Credit Union League, so I've been a little bit busy on that end.
Sure.
I have a kind of a weird question here, almost like something you would ask an 8-year-old, but was becoming a CEO like a career goal of yours or something you've been working toward?
No, probably not.
Okay.
Not originally. My family always said I was going to be a lawyer because I think I had a comment and a comeback for everything as a kid.
We love those kind of people. Yeah, that's great.
So I think law school was almost always in my horizon. And so that was originally the law school that I went to, Chicago College of Law, just part of the Illinois Tech group here in Chicago. I went because I wanted to do environmental law. Now, mind you, I did not have a science background, but Kent was known for that. And then I kind of went through the whole, I'm going to do criminal law. And then I got lucky and found a job close to home that they were looking for someone to work on federal regulatory compliance for a community bank. And
Okay.
Okay.
the EVP at the time, who was going to be the CEO, was a Kent graduate also. And so that was how I had found that position. And so that led me to basically where I'm sitting right now.
Okay.
Wonderful story.
Nice. Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna ask is, having a background in law, obviously some people take a different route, start their own practice or work in a law firm. I was gonna ask what made you decide to go into financial services. So it sounds like that was it just kinda happened with
It
that
just kind of
job?
happened. Honestly, it did.
Yeah. I guess, like, what I'm curious to follow up on that is what made you wanna stick with that route then? Although, what was it about it that you found interesting or that, like, was a fit for you?
I know this sounds crazy. Not many people probably would say this, but I did find the regulatory environment, especially in the 90s, there was a lot of new regulations coming out, some
Mm.
old ones that were just being enforced. And I worked for an FDIC supervised bank. They were really finally getting these community family owned banks to follow the letter of the law. So it became interesting for them that they found themselves needing to hire people who could get that enacted pretty quickly. And I did find it pretty interesting, the federal regulatory environment, and then, working with state laws also.
Sure, sure.
I wouldn't have been surprised, when you get a first job like that. A lot of people and myself, I've asked that, what made you stay? And the answer has always been health insurance. you know, and I'm like, well, I understand, that makes sense.
That's an interesting one.
But I want to talk about Newmark and the uniqueness of this credit union in Chicago. What would you say differentiates Newmark from other financial institutions in the Chicagoland area?
So Newmark is both seg-based and community. Newmark has a long history with select employer groups, and a lot of our organic growth has come from that, but it's also come from that community charter. And over the last maybe 10 years, some growth there with some new branches, a merger with a similarly sized credit union now about 4 years ago, who
Mhm.
also was seg-based originally, but with community branches. And that's really allowed us to continue to grow. In the last 10 years or so, we've been able to capitalize on our knowledge of unions
Mhm.
Hmm.
and have picked up a few larger unions in the Chicagoland area that have been great relationships both for us and for them and working with them.
What unions down there?
We have a couple of the large ironworkers unions, and we
Okay.
originally, Newmark has been part of the Will County IBW.
Got it.
We've been their credit union for many, many years.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, unions kind of been having a moment. I feel like, Michael, don't you agree? The
Mhm.
past
I would
year or
agree with that.
two.
That's why I wanted to ask who they were.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, we've learned a lot about them. They learn a lot about us. We understand, sometimes their work is cyclical and we're able to
Mhm.
accommodate our mortgage loans. Most financial institutions will not even have a conversation with someone who happens to be on unemployment in December when it's
Mm.
30 below zero in Chicago. And we realize that that's when they have the time to come in and talk to us.
Mhm.
Interesting. Okay. So, Michelle, really quickly, just going back to your background and kind of your career journey with, having the legal background, I guess, how would you say that having that legal, foundation in your career benefits you now as a CEO of Newmark and as the leader? It's interesting. I would say that, we talk to a lot of CEOs, we hear about a lot of CEO promotions, and having someone with just a specific legal background, I don't think it's that common. Like I see a lot of, it's usually maybe the CFO or even from someone
Mhm.
from the marketing side. So it's interesting that that's now forelaying into the CEO role. Like, what would you say that background kind of advantages does that give you? Like, and how does it benefit the credit union?
Sure, sure. I think that if we looked at the banking world, it might be a little bit more common because banks were
Mhm.
hiring in-house counsels and
Mm.
compliance personnel from the
That's
legal field
true.
for probably more years than the credit union world was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But as things become more complex, there's more of us around. So I always look at my law school degree as somewhat like an MBA because I did
Mhm.
spend a lot of time with business law, corporate law. And the thing that I think that most people don't realize is that when you go to law school, it's not like going to a trade school. We're not taught to memorize case law and statutes. That's not what it's about.
Sure. Yeah.
It's about learning how to research, analyze, apply logic, think on your feet. Those are the skills that we come out of law school with, and really they could be applied to any industry as a leader.
Interesting, yeah.
So moving on kind of down this road, thinking on your feet and analyzing the situation, what would you say are the biggest challenges credit unions are facing today? Not only in Illinois, but in Chicago, but what you are seeing in the landscape from a legal and risk management perspective?
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty in regulations. The
Mhm.
scariest ones for me are where they kind of leave open private causes of action with no real guidance. And there's a whole group of attorneys out there who look for what we like to call the deep pockets, right?
Mhm.
And those are the ones that scare me, is that I don't even know if I'm complying until it's too late. And I think for smaller credit unions, that can be very scary.
Yeah.
Most smaller credit unions are not going to have a compliance officer and an in-house legal counsel. So that's one of the areas that are laws that are not thought through completely before they're legislated and
Sure.
enacted.
Yeah.
But technology is probably the other area. It's changing every minute. And I mean, I've
Mhm.
been out of law school for quite a few years. And back then, even we talked about that the law was not keeping up with technology. It was moving so fast, and it's even faster now. So,
Mhm.
and it goes to the competition. We're not just competing against that big bank or community bank down the street, but there's fintechs, non-traditional banking sources, and
Mhm.
we have to have a level playing field for us and them.
Do you think that's possible?
If the powers that be stay on top of it and not let those new technologies and fintechs and new banking sources fall through the cracks while
Hmm.
over regulating us at some point,
Mhm.
I think it is possible. Unfortunately, oftentimes it's not till something bad happens that then there's a reaction to that legislation.
Unfortunately, you are
Mm.
correct on that.
Yeah.
I agree. It's an amazing evolution that we're watching right now. To your point, we are not watching the regulators keep up, or we're not watching the lawmakers keep up. So it may be too big to ask for that. I don't know. I hope so.
Right.
My God, I
So do
hope so.
we.
Well,
We just,
Yeah.
we
yeah.
want to know what the rules are. That's the most important. No one wants to violate the rules. They want to
Heck
know
yeah.
what the rules are.
Heck yeah.
And that makes it difficult if you don't even know. And just from since the beginning of this year, there's been so much chaos and uncertainty around, with like leadership of the CFPB, which, obviously it doesn't regulate you directly. It's only the largest credit unions, but there's still a trickle down effect.
Definitely an
So
impact on
imagine,
us.
yeah,
It
Mhm.
creates a
right.
competitive disadvantage at times,
Oh yeah.
or the state picks up on it and then we have to comply. So even though
Yeah.
we're not
Mhm.
officially regulated by them, we have to abide by what they're doing.
Sure. Yeah, and it's been a big big question mark with a lot of things this year. So yeah, I imagine
Yes,
it's
it has.
it's murky.
Mhm.
So really quick, let's just go looking outside of the whole legal risk compliance environment. Just stepping into your role as CEO, what are some other like top priorities that you have on your to-do list? And also, I believe it was a retired CEO that you took over from. So did you guys kind of have a transition period and
We
then
did. I was officially named the president back in October, so there was a
Mhm.
few months of transition.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I guess, I'm sure the previous CEO had their own agenda. How much of that, like, are you saying you're carrying over to yourself or yourself for, as a CEO? And then is there anything you're changing or planning on implementing that you would say is different or a new direction?
To be honest with you, that's the great thing about the continuity of our leadership. I've been involved in our strategy as an executive over the years. And so, I would almost be changing ideas or concepts or projects that I had been a part of. So I have to
Yeah.
say, there's not going to be much differentiation, just maybe a little bit of leadership styles from one CEO to the next, but we're still on target
Sure.
for wanting organic growth, implementing as much technology as we can. And we've been focused on emerging markets
Mhm.
and the underbanked in our communities. And we really want to continue to focus on that.
Oh, nice.
Can I ask about some concerns? You just mentioned some technology stuff, some areas of focus. But when it comes to cybersecurity, is that something Newmark is really approaching or targeting specifically? And if so, how are you all mitigating some of those attacks and
Yeah,
threats?
absolutely. I have to say, I have a outstanding
Mhm.
CIO, and his team is amazing.
What's your CIO's name?
His name is Kevin Quinn, and no one, I don't want,
Yay,
I shouldn't have said it because
Kevin.
I don't want anyone emailing him.
Oh, whoops. Okay, sure.
Very
You don't
protective
want
of that. No,
Thanks.
so he and his team, along with our senior management team and our board, were very proactive in
Yep.
assessing any type of threats. We're not afraid to have paid auditors, external audits come in and test us and make sure that everything is working. We don't wait for the examiners to come knocking
Okay.
on our door. We're doing it ahead of time. We recently just had penetration audits done to see if anyone was able to break through. And it's great because you don't want to find that out when it actually happens. Let's
Well,
test it and see if it's
yeah.
even possible.
Hmm.
So he
Mhm.
stays on top of everything that is coming up.
Yay, Kevin.
Yeah.
I know, and that is a scary, definitely one of the things that we hear the most keeps leaders up at night is the cyber threats, and there's been a lot of big stories about that we've had to cover. Like Patelco was one of
Sure.
them, a major, and then that also bleeds into managing like communication management. If there is a big breach or something
Right.
happens, how do you communicate that and not lose members and lose their trust? So I know it's a
Agreed.
whole
Yep.
thing there, yeah. Michelle, you touched briefly on the concept of when you were talking about transitioning from the previous CEO, that maybe you have a little bit of a different style. So how would you describe your leadership style now at Newmark?
Probably describe it as casual and collaborative.
Mhm.
I work a lot with my senior managers and make sure that they have input, that they're the experts in their areas. My first CEO at the bank gave me some great advice to always hire people smarter than you, and I
Mhm.
follow that all the
Mhm.
time, and Kevin is the
Nice.
one I say that about the most
Mhm.
probably.
Yeah,
But, I'm only as good as the team I have, and I have some really
Sure.
great leaders on my team.
nice.
So it sounds like culturally, Newmark kind of had you were really exploring a culture that Newmark already had in place. Is that kind of a okay way to put it?
Yeah.
Are you planning on any sort of changes to that culture to make it more?
No.
No? Okay.
No, I think we've worked really hard on our branding, our culture over the years, and I see
Mhm.
no reason that one person changing in a position should change that.
I love that answer. I do. One more quick question, kind of on the same point. Have you had any hiring or retention challenges in the industry or in your position lately?
Were we part of the Great Resignation? Yeah, absolutely. I think
Sure.
every industry, every
Mm.
business suffered from that. I think it's finally tapering off and leveling off, and it's just the typical turnover and attrition. And
Sure.
we have some employees who have been here a very, very long time. And unfortunately, that sometimes means that upper level positions, management positions may not open up.
Hmm.
It's reliant on growth.
Mhm.
And we're happy to have people come and learn from us, and they may have to move on to try and get to that next level. And we understand that.
Oh, yeah.
So
Right.
we always hope to be able to find a place for them. But if that doesn't work out, then I hope that they take what they learned from Newmark and apply it to their careers.
Wonderful.
Nice. That's a good place to be in. If you have a hard time, having a position open up, that means you're doing something right, I guess. Yeah, one final question just that came to mind before we move on to part two here. Just thinking about those long-term employees, what do you think it is about the culture that makes them want to make it really their home for so long, and what makes it a good place to work?
Well, it got brought up earlier, the benefits. I mean, we do have great benefits at Newmark. I think
And
for some people that we do have excellent benefits, but
that's
it's
good to hear.
also, we're very member centric and focus
Mhm.
on family. It's a pretty open environment. We're very proud of our DEI initiatives, and
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
look for a diverse culture, and
Yeah.
it's benefited us.
I like good
Awesome.
benefits.
Okay. Those are good. Those are, yeah, those are very
Mhm.
important. Okay, Michelle. Well, let's go ahead and just move on to the second part of our interview. This is going to be all about you. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so we know that you are Newmark, based in the Chicago area. Is that where you're originally from, Chicago?
I am. I've lived in and
Okay.
around
Oh,
Chicago my whole life.
okay. And so what part of Chicago did you grow up in?
So I grew up on the far southeast side of the city, almost to the Indiana border around
Mhm.
Lake Michigan.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're a White Sox fan.
I am. I
Mhm.
am. It's a struggle right now,
It's
but
okay.
I am.
Yeah,
Okay.
the White Sox, from what I understand, White Sox are thankful that the Colorado Rockies exist because
Yes,
they're
I
even
believe
worse.
so. They are. And
Yeah.
it's ironic, though. There's been a lot about the Sox and Reinsdorf finally selling. And quite honestly, where I live right now, if they would build that new stadium, I'd be able to see it out my window. So
Oh my
I'm
God,
kind of excited
really?
about that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So maybe my White Sox
Wow.
have a future, but if not, the
Maybe.
Fire will.
Okay. Can I ask a couple other Chicago questions really quick?
Sure.
Favorite pizza in town?
That's a really hard question to ask someone who is actually from Chicago and could eat
Mhm.
pizza every day. And
That's
it
fine.
depends on the style of pizza because as you
Mhm.
know, we have stuffed pizza, we have deep dish pizza, we have thin crust, and we have tavern style.
Yep,
So,
yep, all of it.
and then of course
Mm.
the New York invasion and then the
Sure.
wood fired has invaded Chicago.
But
But
where do you go for pizza?
my favorite would have to be a place called Phil's in Bridgeport. It's a thin crust. I wouldn't call it a tavern style because it's a little bit thicker than that, but
Okay.
it is my favorite because the sausage is really good.
All right, Phil. The second question. Everybody who's kind of been talking about this. I'm up in Madison, Wisconsin, by the way.
I love
Just
that city.
north of you all. But what did you think when the new pope was named? What was your reaction to that?
So ironically, everybody's got a connection to the Pope. I've never met him personally. I don't know his family, just to put that out
Uh,
there. But when we left the south side of Chicago, we moved to the suburbs and moved to Calumet City, which borders
sure.
Dalton, which is where
Yep.
he is from.
Yep. Yep.
And, all of the Catholic school, I went to Catholic schools, everybody kind of has that connection on the south
Wow.
side. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of ironic. And then, of course, one of my friends, her brother, they had this big mass here at Comiskey. I still call it Comiskey.
Sure. Sure.
And, he was one of the concelebrants of the mass because
Yes.
he went to the seminary with it. So it's there, everybody's got a connection, but I
Heck yeah.
understand that there's like a pilgrimage to the seat he sat in the '05 World Series. And I find that
Amazing.
hilarious. So
And he wore a White Sox hat the other day. I saw in the
yeah,
Vatican.
I have to, make sure that that's legit and not that it's AI, but I think
I
it was.
I believe it
Yeah.
was legit because I think I saw it on AP, Associated Press. But in preparation for this interview, I looked it up. So
Okay, so
anyway,
I questioned it at first, but people have told me that it was
yeah,
legitimate. And
it's
so
all good.
his brother did confirm it on WGN TV that he was a Sox fan. So
WGN, very good. All right, we'll stop talking about Chicago. Sorry.
No, that was a fun, lively conversation, though. But yeah, I was just gonna say, what a crazy world we live in now that you see an image and you just have to question, like, is that real? Is that,
exactly,
and you
right?
don't know anymore. Yeah. Okay, so moving on, we are getting into summer here. So I had a couple of travel related questions, traveling, summer vacation. What was the last like non-work related trip that you took just for fun?
So actually, my husband and I purchased a trip to Costa Rica at In the
Oh,
Cellar, the Midwest Credit Union fundraiser for Children's
the
Miracle
wine. Yeah,
Network.
yeah, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, and Indiana. And we
Hmm.
went to it here in Chicago. It's in Milwaukee coming up in a few months here.
Hmm.
And we were able to use that in February and we had a great time.
Oh,
Oh,
amazing.
nice. Very nice. And do you got any vacations planned for the summer or just focusing on work?
Oh no. I love to travel. We leave actually Saturday for Calgary. We're attending Rotary International's convention. I've been a
Oh,
Rotarian for about 16 years and
Oh,
this is my first shot at
oh,
getting to go to the international convention, but there's plenty of time for leisure and sightseeing, so I'm excited about
oh,
that.
that's great to hear. We
Calgary.
love hearing that, we love that because I'll say we do have like a lot of sources and guests where they're like, I don't have time to watch movies or whatever. And so I like, yeah, definitely take having that balance there is awesome.
And Rotary, you said for 16 years?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
amazing. Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay, going back to your childhood, what, Michelle, was your first album, CD, cassette that you ever bought or remember listening to?
So I think that the album that I probably wanted most of all that wasn't a 45 ended
Okay,
up being
understood.
it was Bad Company, and it was the album Bad Company. So my cousins influenced my music a lot, so that was probably where that came from. But I'm still a Bad Company fan, so I did get to see them about 20
amazing.
years ago finally. So
Oh, you did? Where?
what I think it's called the Credit Union One Amphitheater.
Oh, that one.
Credit
Okay,
Union
sure. I
One
know what you're
Applaud.
talking about.
Yep.
I haven't thought of Bad Company in years, and I can now smell like Bad Company. Like they just have like a mullet smell about them. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
probably.
Bad Company. Yeah, I got it.
That
Great.
was my favorite song at the time. So yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Fun.
Nobody's
Yeah.
Said Bad Company before in the show.
It's probably a more obscure classic rock band that either you followed them or you didn't. So
Sure. Have you been, by the way, speaking of concerts, have you been to the Morton Salt Shed? Yeah.
No, I have not.
I've heard it's amazing.
I know. I wish they would have someone that I would maybe recognize, though. My son tried to give me tickets, and I said, first of all, we'll probably be the oldest people in the place, and secondly, I never even heard of this group you're trying to send me to see. So
it's an amazing venue. Everybody look it up. It used to be the old Morton Salt, literally building, in Chicago, and now it's a really cool concert venue.
Yeah, it's a very up and coming area too. A lot of build up over there.
Thanks, Oprah. Yeah, it's kind of in the north of there.
Westwood. Yep.
Yep.
I need to get to Chicago. I'm a West Coast girl. I've got that's one area I still need to visit. Okay, final question today, Michelle. We ask all of our guests this. What was the last movie you watched?
Do you know that this is probably the hardest question to answer because I can't remember. I'm not as much of a movie person. I don't go to, as we call it here in Chicago, the show, which would mean going to the actual theater, watching a movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I could tell you I went to go see Hadestown like 3 weeks ago. I go to Broadway in Chicago like every few weeks.
Okay,
so
cool.
I'm more of a
yeah.
TV show binge watcher. And
what are you binging?
Okay.
I'm rewatching Stranger Things in anticipation of the last season.
Yeah, they're finally, after I think the previous season was 2022, and now 3 years later, I've heard that, finally it's coming out. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great. How is it aging, revisiting like the first season?
I realized there was probably a lot I missed because I multitask when I'm watching more shows.
That's okay.
So
that's all right. No, that's great.
Awesome. All right. Well, Michelle Balog, President and CEO of Newmark Credit Union, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it was a great time.
Thanks, Michelle.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thanks, Michelle. And to all of our listeners, thank you for downloading today's show. Please subscribe to Shared Accounts with CU Times in all of the normal podcast places. And please share our episodes with everyone you know, coworkers, relatives, friends, pets. You get the drill. Just share.
Or even Michelle's dog named Stella. Stella, we didn't get to talk about you. We love you very much. Feel free to rate us 5 stars only. Bye, Stella. Have a great day. As always, thank you so much to our producer, Zach Nyheisel. Thanks, Zach. Join us again next week for a new episode of Shared Accounts with CU Times. Until then, thanks for listening. Bad Company. Yeah, I got it.